Hello, everyone. This is Christian with us a photo, and we are now out here at the Quadling Quarry. And there's quite a big controversy here because there is a peregrine falcon nest right there where they are doing excavation at the moment. And so I would like to give you a little bit more background now. And I actually have an expert here, Dr. Howard Bailey, who is an environmental scientist and who knows the nest and the whole environment extremely well. So I've got a big pleasure to have you here, Howard. How are you today?
Fine, thank you.
Howard, tell us a little bit about the background here. Why is this nest so important?
Uh, from a population perspective, this is probably the last nesting site active south of the Fraser River to the U.S. border, and then east to Hope. It's from a young production point of view. It's consistently the highest in the Lower Mainland in terms of number of young produced per year over the last 5 years.
Right. And and this particular nest, how long have they been there?
We have local folks that take it back to the early 2000s, before the site was actually developed, and then going back even further based on annual bird surveys, we know the territory was occupied at least into the mid 1990s.
Right. And so what suddenly happened here? What changed everything?
Well, there was a quarry mine that started in 2007, which basically took away a whole bunch of the mountain. The site that was the Peregrine Eyrie actually was protected by a hydro conduit, believe it or not. So that particular buttress, if you will, still remains.
Right.
And but the conduit has been moved, and the quarry has been reopened. So essentially, the rock that the peregrines nest on is fair game.
Right. And is this common in British Columbia that one disturbs wildlife like this?
Uh, that totally depends on your circumstances and perspective.
Right.
Uh, I would say it's more common than people think.
That's what common. And at the moment, well, it's quite late in the day, so we've got soon it's quite high noon, so it's quite difficult to see the nest. Can you sort of point out where it is actually from here?
Yeah, so looking over my right shoulder,
I will do that.
yeah, so you can
Uh-huh.
see some vegetation. I'll switch shoulders for you if
Yeah,
you like.
that's it. That's
Right.
good.
So you can see some vegetation on
Yes.
the rock face,
Right.
and that's the remnant bluff.
Right.
So those were not worked features. There's pieces of them that are, but that used to extend all the way further up and then all the way to the road, actually. And then the Peregrine site itself is in sort of the lower left quadrant of that, what's left of that
Right.
natural bluff.
And do we know how many eggs there are and how when they should be ready to hatch?
I'm guessing hatching is probably in 2 to 2.5 weeks. Probably 2 eggs would be the lowest number
Right.
that they've had in a clutch, and the largest would be 4.
So we don't know,
We
right? We
don't know
can't look in.
precisely, right?
Right.
And I would say there's at least 2 just by how long it takes her to turn them.
So
So
so so let's just explain this a little bit, Howard. Why is mining, or in this case blasts, can it be so detrimental to eggs? Why is there a controversy at all?
well, there's the general activities associated with the site, proximity to the heavy equipment,
Hmm.
people working, very loud noises when the rock crushers are crushing. You have heavy trucks and trailers moving in and out. Generally, these sites would have a buffer.
Right.
Uh, this one, the owner has not respected the buffer. Um, so now you also have blasting occurring on the cliffs above the nesting site. You have material being pushed over the edges, rock bouncing off the cliff face below the nest site. So it's a lot of disturbances. In fact, it's quite unusual. The birds are still locked in to this particular spot. 2 years ago, they abandoned the site when people were working in the pit directly below them.
But surely the mining people would have done their best to protect wildlife, isn't that so?
That would be a leading question. The permit was challenged, but the groups that were challenging the permit were told they had no standing, which meant that they weren't either the authorizer of the permit or the signee of the permit. So the reality is it's very difficult for the public to actually have any impact on these decisions other than maybe in a political way.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Howard. So I'm going to try and show you the nest actually now. It's going to be very difficult because it's very hot at the moment. So there's what we call a lot of shimmering. That's instability in the air due to the change of refractive index. Excuse the terminology, but that's the way it is. But that's causing shimmering. But I will try and lock this on the back of the camera. And if this doesn't work, I'm going to try and be here early tomorrow. So just hang on, it's going to shake a bit because I just have to dismantle this. By the way, there's David Hancock too. He's also here.
Hello.
Okay, so let's give it a try and see if you can see anything at all. This is not going to be easy now. I've got the text in the way, unfortunately. Let me try and get... thank you for all your comments. I really appreciate it. I'm going to try and zoom in, and this is not easy because the sun is so powerful at the moment that I can't even see where I'm pointing at. I have to actually get Howard. Maybe he can... you could have a look, but the sun is really shining, and I've got the comments on the back, so this doesn't help. But let's see if we can actually... No, I've moved it too much now. Wait, hang on.
You're in the trees.
I'm in the trees. Hang on. Okay, let's just try this again. It's too much this way.
So it should be here.
It should be... Okay, let me try and get the
Right
cursor there.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to try and get this little dot there. And I will try and get better equipment here too to show this a bit better. I will zoom in. Is it about there, I guess, right? Do you see where that green...
Should be, yeah, right.
A bit lower?
Well, it should be right on that ledge there.
Okay, let's try and zoom in there. And yes, there you go. There you go. You can see it. Excellent. You see where that green... so there's a lot of shimmering, but you can definitely see the female now. Thank you, Howard. That was great. So I'm just gonna... So you can enjoy... I think the distance here is probably approximately, what, 600 feet or so. Somewhere around there. But you can see... You think so? Yes. Oh, David says more 900. Okay, so it's much further. So I'm really zooming in now, but actually you can see it live. So I'm just going to go down, and I can see your comments. So thank you very much. Oh, hi, Mark. I can see you all log in. Mark is there. That's great. Yeah, okay. So that's an interesting... Mark is asking here, how about the impact of the blast of the sound waves on the eggs? That's a great thing for a physicist to ask. I'll give you my opinion, okay? I'll give you my opinion. So let's start with air. If you have a shock wave in air, the propagation of a shock wave in air is not very good because air is compressible, right? It's not like a fluid. So it means that there's a lot of what we call attenuation. That means dampening of the sound wave, right? That's why, in general, sound doesn't travel very well through air. Well, with a solid or a liquid, it's very different because it is an incompressible... the shock wave propagates with very low attenuation. That means there's very low dampening. So imagine now you have a blast that is about 50 meters away, because that is the zone that they have. That shock wave from the blast will propagate very well. And then it comes to the egg. Now the peregrine falcons lay their eggs directly on the rock. That's my understanding. So there's a point of contact between the egg, which is hard. Again, it's a solid. And inside the egg, you have the liquid. So you have a point source whereby a propagation where it touches the rock goes out as it disturbs into the egg. In my opinion, and this is just my opinion, this could be very detrimental because I think this is very different to prairie falcons or so, where they lay on sand. Is that right, Howard? Yes. So in that case, you have a lot more attenuation in the sand. So I hope that it's not the case. I hope I'm wrong, but it could be that the eggs are already irreversibly damaged. Let's hope I'm wrong. Okay, I don't know for a fact, but that's as far as I can guess now. I hope that answers the question. Yeah.
So that would be sandstone.
That's sandstone, right? Yes. Yeah. So I'm just going to take. So I hope you saw the peregrine falcon. You can see that's quite a distance, and I hope also that the that the audio is coming in. Hi, Isabel. I can see everyone's there now. That's very nice. Good to see you all, Zach. Let's see who else is there. unfortunately, it's very difficult to see all the comments in the sun. In the sun, but I'm going to try and be here more often, especially as we get closer to the hatching day. Maybe Howard, one more thing. Um, haven't they put a stop on mining, on the excavation here, or is that not the case? What?
Supposedly, there was a suspension order from the ministry
Right.
yesterday that'll be enforced by the conservation officer today. What that actually means on site, we don't know, because there could be an appeal process, and let's just say this owner has been less than cooperative.
Okay, well, less than cooperative. Okay, well, thank you, everyone. I'm just going to flip the camera around and just say hi to everyone. So you see, it's quite warm here. It's a wonderful day, and it's very nice to see so many people here in the area who really care about nature, and that's what we need, because if there's enough resistance here and enough appeals, then we can make changes. So on that note, thank you very much, everyone, and I hope it came out quite well.
I want to add one thing.
One thing. Say.
We are in supernatural British Columbia. And some people work so darn hard to take away the super and the natural.
Okay,
and that's what really cheeses me off about these things. It's supposed to be, that's our motto, supernatural British Columbia. And why are people doing this kind of nonsense?
Well, there you go. That's famous and very wise words from David Hancock. So thank you very much, David. I'm really pleased that I'm surrounded by so many experts here. Okay, thank you then, and we'll be back soon.